Welcome to Upticks with Jake Falcon, founder and CEO of Falcon Wealth Advisors. In this podcast, we help high net worth individuals overcome financial complexities. We do this by enhancing financial literacy and discussing topics in a language free from industry jargon. Join us as we help explain exactly what having a solid financial plan means, as Jake draws from years of experience in helping hundreds of individuals get financially organized and focused on their goals. We hope you find Upticks educational, entertaining, and shareable. Now, on to the show.
Welcome back to the show. This is episode 253, Wealth Management for High Income Earners. Cory, welcome back to the show.
Jake, thanks for having me.
Now, it's been a while since both of us have been on an episode of Upticks, so it's going to be a powerful episode, I trust. And you were in Turks and Caicos last week, right?
Yes, Cassie and I were there for the week last week, and it was fantastic.
What was your favorite thing about, I've never been to Turks and Caicos, but what was your favorite thing about your vacation?
You know, Cassie and I talked about this a lot, and the trip was great. But I think our favorite thing about the trip was this almost feels cliche to say the location, but the islands were so nice and they were close, and the weather was perfect.
That is nice.
That really made there's like a 15 to 18 mile an hour trade winds that just breeze through pretty much 24 hours a day. That really makes the weather beautiful.
That's pretty windy for a golfer, 15 to 18 miles. Now, how hard was it getting down there? Did you go to Dallas, and then how did you get there?
Yeah, we had one connection in Dallas on the flight there and one connection in Atlanta on the way home.
Not too bad. And what was that?
It was pretty smooth though.
Was it? Okay, good.
It was. Yes, we had a great time.
And you didn't get sunburned. Look at you.
No, not too bad. You know, I learned the trick this time, and I actually learned this from the people there, is as easily as I burn in the sun, to actually get what they call like a heat guard, which is basically like a real thin layer, just like a shirt basically to wear. So certain parts don't get burnt and you're not constantly trying to apply sunscreen.
So you just had to take care of your face and head kind of stuff, right?
Yep.
Nice. Good for you. I'm glad you had a good time.
Yes, thank you. And I learned how to drive on the left side of the road. That was an adventure.
Oh, I didn't know they did that there.
They do.
Interesting. We need to talk about that.
And you would give way instead of yield, Jake. Give way.
Give way. Okay, fair enough. Cool. Yeah, good for you. Yeah, same. It's golf season for me. I've been playing a lot of golf here lately. It's been fun. Certainly getting hot in Kansas City, but the golf ball goes further in the heat, so I'm okay with it. Just got to drink a lot of water, put on that sunscreen. Now, I want to thank all of our viewers, listeners, our audience. Our subscriber count continues to grow. And so again, if you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple iTunes, thank you. A 5-star rating would be much appreciated. And if you're watching this on YouTube, a simple thumbs up is greatly appreciated as well. I think there's something to do with the algorithms that more people get access to our content when you do those things. And again, ultimately at Falcon Wealth Advisors, clients choose to work with us to enhance their financial literacy and explain exactly what their financial plan means to them. And that's one of the points of this podcast, is to help with financial literacy. Now, many of our clients already know, Cory, that you and I specialize in retirement planning, but we also have a separate niche altogether, and that's wealth management for high income earners. And when I'm talking about high income earners, typically what I'm referring to are families that make in excess of $300,000 a year, $500,000, $1 million, $2 million, $3 million. That some of our clients are business owners and are quite successful, or they're corporate executives, and they're in that highly compensated employee realm. And that comes with a completely different set of challenges when you're talking about wealth management. So I wanted to do an episode today on wealth management for high income earners. And certainly if you're a high income earner and you're watching or listening to this show and you're not a client of Falcon Wealth Advisors, don't hesitate to send myself an email, Jake at falconwealthadvisors.com, or Cory, Cory at falconwealthadvisors.com. And we're happy to take you through our signature planning process, where we can help you develop a plan that makes best sense for you and your family. But Cory, you and I have several topics we wanted to bring up today, so let's dive into them. So I'll just kick off number one, and I'll let you go number two, and we'll ping pong it back and forth here. So number one, for these high income earners, I want you to move towards financial independence by saving in a brokerage account. For many of our clients that make in excess of $300,000, it's very easy for them to max out their 401k or their retirement accounts And then they often come to me and they say, Cory or Jake, what do I do next? I'm already maxing my 401k. What should I do with my excess money? Cory, maybe you can elaborate a little bit on this item here. So what do you say to somebody when they're already maxing out their retirement accounts, just from an investment and a financial planning perspective?
Yeah, start building up funds in a brokerage account, like you highlighted, Jake. And I think the brokerage account really is underappreciated in a lot of ways. People focus so much on retirement accounts, but with a brokerage account, particularly when you're talking about financial independence, right? This is a bucket of money where the dollars can be invested, but you can get your hands on the money when you need it, regardless of what age you are. Perhaps someone's planning for an early retirement. Something like a brokerage account and funds in that account can really help supplement that, along with some advantageous tax treatment as well.
Right. So you don't get the tax deferred growth that a IRA or 401k provide, and you don't get tax-free growth with a Roth IRA. But to your point, you don't have all those limitations and restrictions of those types of accounts. You will be subject to capital gains when you buy and sell investments. But you're right, Cory, if you retire at 50 and you've got a nice big bucket in full of money in a brokerage account, you can access that without worrying about early withdrawal penalties and other items. Also, a brokerage account may be eligible to use as collateral to borrow against. So there's a lot of different flexibility items there. I'm a big fan of the brokerage account, flexibility, accessibility. Again, the taxes need to be managed a little bit more wisely than a 401k does, but you can do it, right? And certainly if you have a competent CPA and your friends at Falcon Wealth Advisors, you can definitely have a brokerage, and that can just be a really good move towards financial independence. Perfect. Cory, I want you to lead off to our second tip here.
Yeah. So the second tip here is that paying off debt is okay if your plan makes sense. And we talk a lot about, financial plans for clients. And, there's the evergreen question, it seems like, Jake, of should I invest more money or should I pay off my mortgage? I'm just using that as an example. But I think this is a good point that we've highlighted here, which is that paying off debt is okay if it makes sense in your plan. And Jake, I don't know if you want to elaborate further beyond that.
Yeah, so we can run it in your plan. So if you've got a mortgage that's locked in at 3%, and let's say you have 500,000 in your brokerage, and maybe it hasn't performed well because the market's been down. I don't want you to get impatient and say, you know what, Jake, my brokerage lost money last year. That really upset me. I'm just going to take that money and pay off my mortgage. That might not be the best thing for you. So again, I don't want you to be penny wise and dollar dumb here. Run it in the financial plan. There are such things as good debt and bad debt. Good debt would be investing in your education. Typically, homes and mortgages are typically good debt. Credit card would be bad debt, right? High interest, variable interest, right? Stuff that can balloon on you. That would be an example of high or bad debt. So it can make sense, though, to pay it off. We do definitely have plenty of clients that are high income earners that are completely debt free. And like I said in the comment here in your second tip, it's okay to pay off your debt, but let's look at the financial plan before you make a big decision. That's all I want to do is model it out. And we're not opposed. Again, some clients, we say, yeah, pay off your mortgage. You've got plenty of money. You're going to have one less thing to worry about, and your financial plan's not disruptive. For some clients, we say, look, if you pay off your mortgage, you're going to have that much less money, so you may need to work that much longer. So again, we just want to look at that, crunch the numbers, and see what makes sense for you. All right, good. Number 3, Cory, revisiting that 401k is to take a look at something called a MegaBackdoor Roth 401k, basically. So this is a way to contribute after tax money. So after you've maxed out your 401k, you actually may be able to put in more money in there and then convert it into a Roth. And so for many high income earners, they can't do a normal Roth IRA because they're over the income limits. And Cory, I could do a whole episode on Upticks on MegaBackdoor Roths. But my point is, if you're working at a corporation or if you have a 401k, all you have to do is ask your HR department, do we have the option for a MegaBackdoor Roth? If you do, I would highly encourage you to meet with your friends at Falcon Wealth Advisors, our financial planning group. They can crunch the numbers for you and see if that makes sense. Do you want to add anything on that before we go into our 4th tip, Cory?
I think just one caveat, or it's not even a caveat, just one point to add to that, Jake, is that even if your 401k plan at work doesn't allow you to convert those dollars into a Roth while you're employed there, like an in-plan conversion, if someone is working and making after-tax contributions above and beyond what they're maxing out in their 401k, as those after-tax funds build up eventually when they separate from the employer or retire, the after-tax funds can be rolled into a Roth IRA. So it effectively, is getting you close to the same place. It's just a different way. My point is, someone can still take advantage of this, even if their specific employer doesn't allow them the ability to do those conversions inside their 401k.
Yeah, you make a good point. You want to be careful though, because there's been some legislation hints that they may phase out that ability to move those after-tax dollars into a Roth. So again, I wouldn't go into it without talking to your accountant or your financial advisor and look at, the pros and cons. But you're right, Cory, today, certainly it could make sense. But again, you got to be careful with that because the laws could change, just like with any of this.
Like everything.
Yeah. Good. What's our fourth tip, Cory?
Avoid overthinking it by buying into investment products or private equity. And I think this is a really good point, Jake, because the reality is there's investment products, there's alternative investments, whether it's private equity, venture capital, whatever it may be, that very much appeals to folks that have more assets or earn more income. And I think that there's a general thought that folks have that, after I've achieved X number of dollars, either that I'm earning or I've saved, that I need to start investing in these other types of investment products or private equity. And I think that, my opinion on that is that's more of a myth than a reality. And, trying to overthink it doesn't really serve anyone's, it's not going to serve the good of anyone's financial plan or anyone's particular situation.
Right. And that's the idea, is that you want to stick with what you know. So, okay. So if you say, look, Jake, I'm a tech person, so I don't know anything about investing. I make good money, but I'm in IT. So you're starting to make good money. I don't want you to start all of a sudden thinking you can go buy a bunch of rental properties and be this landlord, because if you're not a handyman or you don't understand subcontractors and real estate contracts and all that goes into being a landlord, that's basically going to take you away from what you are world class at, which may be being an IT person, right? And so that's what I'm getting at also with this, Cory, is that, again, investment products, you gotta be careful. The fees can be very high. Private equity is a sexier thing, as of late, but you might lose some transparency. And again, the fees may be high. So we really are fans of sticking with your bread and butter. Hire a fiduciary wealth advisor. We personally like stocks, bonds, and options. It's transparent. That's easy for us to explain to clients. And you can have a lot of money in those things and do very well. Look at Warren Buffett. You don't see him out there chasing fads all these years, and he's done very well buying value stocks, frankly. And so I don't want clients, again, if you have a niche and you already do something, what makes you think you're going to be able to go buy 10 rental houses and manage it all? Now, again, if that's something you have a passion for and something you want to do, that's completely different. But if that's not your thing, then I would just be very careful of, biting off more than you can chew, because you can lose money in those things just as easily as you can make money. So, and you can lose money in the stock market, obviously, just as easily as you can make money as well. But I don't want clients going down this exotic road because there's neighbor's brother, sister's dog says that that's the best thing to do, because it's not always the best thing to do. And you can lose money and you can get yourself in trouble, and it can be a very big distraction when you just really need to focus on what you enjoy doing and your purpose, and making income the way you like it. And then make sure you understand your investments. If you don't understand it, and frankly can't explain it at least a high level to somebody else, then you should probably be wary of it.
Yes, that's in liquidity, Jake. It is underrated, right? It really is. If you own XYZ stock, presumably you can sell that stock on virtually any day the market's open. But if you own 10 rental properties, or you have capital called to a private equity fund that has a 10-year time horizon, I think it's just not considered enough, or it's very underrated in the sense that being able to actually get your hands on the money is important.
Right. Or even in investment products. Some of these investment products have penalties if you sell them early. So you got to be careful with that also. All right, good. And then our last two kind of bonus tips here, max out a health savings account, right? Those are, if you're in a high deductible health insurance plan, that should be a no-brainer. And I don't even think you need to be a higher income earner necessarily to do that, because you can't put a lot of money in health savings accounts. So that's another good tip there. And then protecting against liability. Cory, you brought up the health savings and the liability. Why don't you elaborate what you mean on the protect against liability?
Yeah. So, high earners, I think inherently can just be exposed to higher liability risks because of the assets that they have or whatever it might be, or even just their professional employment. There's a number of things to consider there. So my perspective on protecting against liability is to just make sure the appropriate insurance coverage is in place as far as your homeowner's insurance, an umbrella liability policy, professional liability insurance, whatever it may be. If somebody's earning a high income, you want to make sure that you're protecting against the potential liability there. Whether it's a lawsuit, a crime, whatever, whatever it could ultimately be, you really want to make sure that it's protected. And it's especially important for, folks that are high income earners.
That's a good point, right? Yeah, because you don't ever want to get sued and not have proper coverage, and then they go after your brokerage account, for example, right? So I like that. That's a good point. You should be reviewing your property and casualty insurance. Typically you should shop it for the rates and shop it for the coverage. I don't know if you have to do it every year per se, but certainly if you have a life change or your net worth changes, then you certainly want to update that and review it. Good. That's a really good one there. And so again, wealth management for high income earners is a whole nother category. Yes, they want to retire typically and do the things that many traditional clients do, but they also have their own unique set of challenges that our team at Falcon Wealth Advisors is well equipped to handle and advise on. And we enjoy doing it. It challenges us, and we think that we provide a ton of value when we can help make some of these big decisions for our clients. Good. Is there anything else, Cory, as we wrap up today's episode?
I don't have any final parting thoughts. I think the bullet points that we've covered here are really useful. And like you said, it's everybody it just ultimately presents a unique challenge that may be more unique. We have, Jake, a lot of clients that in retirement things get more confusing than they might be for them while they're working because of a lot of decisions they have to make. But the reality is the more income that someone earns while they're working, it probably creates more complexity in their life each and every year as opposed to in retirement. And that's why it really pays to work with a fiduciary, to work with someone that knows what they're doing and can give you the right advice.
Yeah, is it that famous rap song, Cory? Mo money, mo problems. And
that's right.
And
that's
again,
exactly right.
We don't feel sorry for them, right? Because they've successful from an income standpoint. But again, it doesn't mean that things are simple. That's a really good point. And I can't reiterate enough that you and I have built out an entire financial planning group that is well equipped to have these meetings with our clients. So, our roles have shifted a little bit. We do still do client meetings from time to time, but we're really here to educate our clients, train, and motivate our team so that we can continue to provide a standard of service and of care that our clients have chosen and grown accustomed to. And that's really what you and I are here to do. We really enjoy doing that, along with, of course, meeting with clients and helping them. So, but lean on our financial planners. They can do tax planning for you, retirement planning, budgeting, income planning, all that stuff. That's what they do literally on a daily basis. And then they love it. They happen to be very good at it, and they're in tune. And so that's why we surrounded ourselves, Cory, with some bright individuals that can execute on that for all of our clients. All right, good. All right, we'll wrap it up. It's a quick episode today. I'm glad you're back from Turks and Caicos. For our audience, we're going to continue to be in the office. We miss it, Cory. Our rent's too high for us not to be here. So
I think you're right.
No more recording from the home office. We'll be in shirt and ties and our suits. And again, thank you all. We hope you have a great week, and we appreciate you tuning in to Upticks.
Thank you for listening to Upticks. Click the subscribe button to be notified when new episodes become available. Also, be sure to visit our website, falconwealthadvisors.com, and click the Contact Us button if you'd like to meet with Jake and his team.